Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Brittany Francis, and I'm so incredibly excited that you have joined us this evening. This is our family night. This is when we get to share with each other what is happening in our world. So, what I'm going to tell you is welcome. Welcome to what we truly believe to be the most prolific regenerative technology of our lifetime. Welcome to a night that we just get to celebrate the hope of what this technology has. So we're just so incredibly excited. So you have some time to just quickly invite somebody that you know might be praying for a miracle. So I know that there are several people in our lives that when we were introduced to this technology, I thought, what if? And the answer was yes for them. So, with that, welcome. 21 months ago, my husband and I jumped into this technology. We began to utilize this technology. And on day 11, I was able to cancel my surgery on my arm that was needed. And then by day 47, I actually had Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid condition. And on day 47, something was weird. And I went to the doctor, and after my blood work came back, my thyroid had actually fixed itself. And so our testimonies just went on and on and on. And my husband, his back issues of years and years of being a professional soccer player, his back issues began to fix themselves all the way through, ladies. My husband stopped snoring. So, what I can tell all of you is that there is going to be a miracle on the other side of this Zoom. So what I do want to do is make sure that that all of you guys can see my screen, and if somebody could unmute and then just make sure that you can tell me that you see me, that would be great.
We
We
can
see you.
see you.
Perfect. All right. So, first of all, we want you to know that this is the technology that works in the realm of stem cells. Okay. So, your story is going to be totally different than the person that invited you. Okay. You may not have thyroid issues. You may not have back issues. You may not have any issues at all, but just want to feel better. So, just understand that this is not a typical disclaimer. This is saying that your body is going to activate, but what your body is going to do is going to be completely different in the different order, because once you understand how this technology works, it's going to explain to you why you're hearing so many different testimonies. So, why the technology? Okay, first of all, before we open it up for testimonies and all of you be ready to give it, why this technology? Well, by the time we're 30, half of our stem cells actually go dormant. They go to sleep. By the time we're 60, 90% of them go dormant. And the fewer stem cells that you have, the faster you age, the slower you feel, the worse you feel. Okay, so start thinking about your body and how quickly it breaks down once you hit 35. Not that I would know, but once you hit 35, okay? Let's talk about stem cells. Them going dormant, what does that even mean? Well, stem cells are your master building block of your entire body. Okay, it's their job to naturally repair, naturally renew, fix all the issues that are going on in your body. And so as they break down and they go dormant, you're starting to see a lapse of your body to be able to fix itself. Now, stem cells are undifferentiated, which means they have the ability to turn into whatever cell is necessary for your body to fix. So let's say that you have an attention disorder like I did. It was just something neurologically that I couldn't focus. It was really frustrating for me. Well, my stem cells began to activate, and my stem cells knew what they needed to turn into so that my body could begin to repair itself. And also, long COVID didn't help me either. But that's the ability that stem cells have. That's why they're such a hot topic. You could go and inject them in your knee, and what happens then when you inject them is they can turn into whatever is necessary for your knee to fix. Well, if you have stem cells all over your body that begin to wake up, they are heat seeking missiles. So they will turn into whatever is necessary for your body to fix. So they take care of inflammation, they regenerate, so they help those damaged cells. They help you fight viruses. Wouldn't that have been nice to know about this a little while back? And then they also revitalize and wake up the other cells. Okay, so it's really important to understand what these do, because stem cells, that's why they're a hot topic. The only issue is that what happens is that when they go dormant again after you inject them, There's no answer to it unless you have a way to wake them up. Okay, so let's bring some validity before we open up for testimonies tonight. Let's bring some validity and some science to back up this technology because all of these testimonies, believe me, there's some really powerful ones that I've received text messages over the course of the last week or so that are so excited to share. So let's bring validity. David Schmidt is our founder. He's a CEO. He's incredibly brilliant. Okay, he actually has well over 200 patents, and he was actually contracted by the US military over 20 years ago to come up with something that the Navy SEALs could utilize that would keep them awake for 24 to 36 hours straight, ready for combat. So that was the beginning of his search into the body. Now, what they asked him to do was find something that they could use, but it could not be a drug, it could not be a stimulant, it could not be something that they orally took. So he began to study the body and the chemical reactions that the body has to light. And this was not new science. There are many, many scientists that went before him. So he started studying what they knew. And he found that there were different chemical reactions that the body had to different colors of light frequency. Okay. So then, deeper, I think we all know this, we're beings of light. Inside of us, there is light called biophotons. Okay. So, inside, the second that we are created inside the mother's womb, light happens, okay? And then light continues to happen. So he knew this. So then he said, okay, so if there's light and there's actual reactions that the body has to chemical reactions to light outside, what about inside? So yes, indeed. Whenever there's light that hits each other inside the body, the chemical reactions, the body begins to move. And so he really started looking at this and he said, okay, so we have biophotons inside us. We have chemical reactions that happen inside of us when the light is accepted into our body. What if I were to look at the body in a whole different way as like a being of light, which is nothing weird, and look at the thermal imaging of a body? And he found, interestingly enough, that the body emits off of itself between 1 to 2 centimeters of light. And he found that there's all kinds of different colors of light frequency. And for the Navy SEALs, because remember, this is 20 years ago, he wanted to find a light that the body would naturally keep awake so that our Navy SEALs could fight for us. Okay. Well, he found that there was actually a red light that we emitted that when reflected back into the body would naturally elevate adrenaline. So, over 20 years ago, this is the first ever technology that David Schmidt created that is called photobiomodulation, a reflection of our own light frequency back into our body completely holistically, where the body has a healthy chemical reaction. So, Stanford University got wind of this. They began to utilize this for their swimmers. Their swimmers started using this, had personal bests, and David Schmidt knew that he was onto something incredible. So, what happened? He knew that there were other light frequencies, so he began to utilize an FTIR and found all kinds of different colors of frequencies of light. And as he found those, he would reflect the different frequencies and the body would have different chemical reactions. Well, he was on a mission in 2008 because he knew that stem cells went dormant. Okay. So he was really on a mission to understand what was it that was needed for stem cells to wake up because he knew if we could wake up our own stem cells, lives would change in a massive way. And this is why you're about to hear about the technology that we have our hands on, the X39. There's over 70 global patents on this technology. I cannot fold this piece of paper and call it a rocket ship if it doesn't do exactly what the patent says. So he had to prove himself. Okay, so there was clinical studies, and what he found was that this technology, this one little patch, when reflected back into the body at a specific frequency, the body elevated what is called a GHKCU copper peptide. And that copper peptide was known as a holy grail of healing. In 1973, this copper peptide was found, and they were like, okay, well, let's inject it. Well, when you inject it, what ends up happening? It works, but your body starts processing it. Okay, so he was like, okay, this is huge because instead of ever injecting, the body can consistently elevate this copper peptide. And this copper peptide in response, the skin, the hair, the lungs begin to fix the pulmonary issues and damage, right? So, you hear testimonies now of people with COVID issues using this technology. Why? Because of this right here. The brain, the nerves start fixing, antioxidant power. Okay. But then the biggest piece is activating your stem cells that are dormant. Okay, so this GHKCU peptide is absolutely huge because, yes, it helps cosmetically, but waking up those stem cells is the biggest piece of the puzzle. So there's nothing that is going inside the body. This technology is just made of a crystalline lattice. There's nothing weird about that. It's nanocrystals, sugars, salts, amino acids that are grinded down to a very specific image. Okay, and it's a mirror, and you place it on the body and it catches just perfectly a specific frequency of light. It reflects it back into the body, and then the body naturally elevates that GHKCU peptide. So it's literally like you're putting a dimmer switch on in your body and you're starting to turn on that dimmer switch. And the more and more and more that dimmer switch begins to light up, more and more changes happen inside your body. 70% of people feel a miracle between 5 minutes and 5 days. 97% of people feel a miracle within 90 days. So within the first few days, 4,000 genes begin to reset. This is huge. Actually 4,100 genes begin to reset. Okay, so it doesn't mean that we're playing God. They reverse back to the way that they were before your body was damaged. And within 6 weeks, the brain becomes balanced. So PTSD, anxiety, depression, memory loss, all these pieces begin to take care of themselves. And within 3 months, the collagen is increased. So you see a major change of people with anxiety, depression. Then all of a sudden, as the body begins to fix itself in the brain, then all of a sudden you start seeing changes on the outer appearance. And then within 6 months, it is clinically proven that the cardiovascular age of the heart reverses. That's right. So this is not an anti-aging technology. It's completely age reversal. Within the first few days, those genes reset. Within 6 months, the clinical study is that the body on average reverses an average of 8.5 years at the mitochondrial level. This is huge. So utilizing this technology is absolutely incredible. The technology is brilliant. It's a proprietary form of phototherapy. So just like when you go outside and the body gets and receives the sunlight, the body produces vitamin D, right? Well, the body accepts the light frequency and the body naturally elevates the GHKCU peptide. There's no drugs, there's no stimulants, it doesn't get in the way of any medication. So that is the power of this technology. It's extremely sophisticated, but very, very, very simple to explain. And because of that, testimonies happen. And that elevation of that GHKCU peptide, it also works on animals. So as I open this up, you might hear some testimonies about animals. It works on animals. So that is what we have our hands on. And I'm so incredibly excited to open this up to many who have texted me and said, hey, I have a testimony this week I want to share. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open it up. I know that there is a friend of mine, John McConnell, who would love to share what has happened for him utilizing this technology. And John, you can go ahead. I'm going to click the button unmute, and so that you can actually tap it.
You can hear
Perfect.
me?
Yes, sir, we can. Share with us, John, what has happened for you.
Well, several years ago, I had a major heart attack and was rushed to the hospital and had to have surgery. And they did the surgery, and I come out. They didn't think I was going to make it through surgery. In fact, they didn't think I was going to make it through the night. And but they went ahead and did the surgery, and then I woke up about a week later in intensive care, and they said the surgeon come in and he says, you are one sick puppy. He says, you don't realize, he says, your major arteries were all plugged and 90%. And he says, there was a lot of damage to your heart, and the lower half of your heart, which is the receiving part of your heart, is not working anymore. And he says, you're probably going to have a heart transplant sometime down the road. We can give you a couple more years, and but we're going to have to give you a new heart, and this will give us some time to look for one. Okay, so fast forward, I got introduced to the X39, and I started wearing it in, let's see, May, right around the end of May. And I started to notice different things happening. I had more energy. I had this other things. Scars were disappearing, and I have one big scar down the middle of my chest, and it's starting to disappear. The one in my legs where they took the veins out are healing and disappearing. This is several years later, but anyhow, all this stuff is happening, and so I had an appointment to go see my cardiologist, and I went in there. I was seeing them like about every 3 weeks. Sometimes then they said, "Well, you're still kicking, so we're going to move you up to every 3 months." Okay, so it was every 3 months, and then this last time saw my cardiologist, she put the stethoscope on my back, on my chest, and listened and listened, and was real quiet. And she says, "I can't believe this." She says, "Your heart is very, very extremely strong, and it's normal, and there's not very much damage to your heart." She said the heart doesn't repair itself like that. That never happens. And she says, "Well, I'm not going to have to see you for another year." And I said, "Okay, see you." So I can't say that X39 cured me, but it sure did help. And there's other things that it's working on too. You know, I have uh, a lot of other problems, but they're all problems are starting to reverse themselves.
Oh, John, I'm so happy. I'm so happy. And I know you're so wonderful. You introduced it to your sister. I believe your sisters have seen some changes as well. And so I love hearing as your body is starting to fix itself. So thank you, John. I'm
You're
just so
welcome.
grateful that you shared that. I love it.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. All right. Wonderful. Well, I would love to open it up. There's several other that have texted me, and so I would love to open it up. Just go ahead and just you can hit the react button, that heart at the bottom, or you can unmute yourself quickly. And I would love for you to just share what you have seen. I think we have somebody jumping on. Yeah. Hello.
Hello, yeah. Can you hear
How are
me?
you? Yes, sir.
Yeah, hi, this is Alan McGaffin, and I've I'm a home inspector, and really I'm week 6 of wearing the patch, and I was introduced to it at a really at a meeting. I do a networking meeting, and the lady sitting next to me who was wearing it had said that she had given one to her husband, and she noticed a difference, and he was more alert, and et cetera. And so it's easier to live with, and things, and so I said, I'll try it. So I was in. PJ was there at the meeting, and so we connected, and I was signed up that afternoon, and so I put it on, and what I noticed before is I climb on roofs, and I crawl through attics, and I'm in pretty good shape going through there. But the biggest fear that I had was losing my brain, and because I can work out all day in the gym and then eat really good, but I was losing concentration. When you're doing an inspection, you can't miss things, and so you have to stay focused. And I was losing focus, and so what I noticed that after about day 3 of wearing the patch, I didn't really realize it. I didn't feel jumpy. Everything just seemed to be more bright, more light, and and I was not uh, losing words and so when I could carry on the conversation. But the main thing was um, I could continue with my inspections, and I was keeping thought, staying focused, and so that's the one thing that I first noticed. And then I was in an attic, and sometimes I can get up and down and move around, but it's the bones don't bend as like back when I was 30, and I'm 72, and so I felt honestly coming in and out of it. My knees been better. I'm up and down the ladder better. The I honestly feel like I'm back in my 50s again. So that's that's basically the what it's done for me so far. Little things. I'm I know my brother. I got him on the patch, and he had some arm troubles. He couldn't lift his arm over his shoulder. His elbow was messing him up, and so I talked to him about a week ago, and he's been on it for about 3 weeks now. And he says, I don't know what's happening, Alan, but my elbow doesn't hurt anymore. And so it's little things like that that's just coming out. I'm still in the discovery stage, finding out what's happening, and so we shall see. But thumbs up, I'm in it for a long haul. Thank you, everyone.
I'm so glad that you shared. And this is just the beginning. And that's what's so incredible because it's what, 6 weeks? So, I mean, my gosh, Alan, this is just begin. I can't wait for you you're going to be back on in a couple months and go, you won't believe this. And so, and I
Yeah,
saw you
yeah.
glasses. So be ready. Be ready, friend, because that's going to change as well.
I'm waiting for the hair.
Well, let's pray that in. So glad that you shared. Welcome, welcome to our family. Welcome to our family. All right, next, I received an incredible text, and I'm very excited to hear from our friend Summer. So, Summer, come on over.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty. So, my daughter had a traumatic brain injury as an infant. And with that, there's struggles. I mean, she's functioning and no one can tell from looking at her that she has anything going on. But once you spend some time with her, you see some things. So, anyways, I got introduced to the patch by my friend Brooke. And we started in May. I started her May 1st. She was kind of the guinea pig of the family. Within a few days, she just exploded. Like her engagement with us just was so noticeable that my husband was like, what's going on? Her therapist, we go to OT, she goes to OT. Her therapist noticed, before she was having good days at therapy, after the patch, she was having great days. And um, literally everyone around us could tell the difference, so much so that now my whole family is patching because the difference that they've seen in her. um, Not only has she been more engaged with us, but her memory recall is better, her response time is faster. She started meeting her goals in OT so quickly that they ended up discharging her in September, I believe. um, just lots of things. Are some of my friends that I only see once a year, they were like, "What's happening?" Because she is not the same kid that we've seen previous years. So yeah, it's been pretty interesting.
Oh, Summer, I love it. Oh, and I remember the very beginning. And there's just little changes here and there. That's just, I'm so, how long have you been patching her?
Since May 1st,
May 1st.
so I'm not calculating, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. Oh, that is so good. Okay, so remember, this is not putting a drug or a stimulant inside a child. So I'm so glad that Summer said that because we have children, actually one child in particular that she was, we believe, injured when she was a young child. And so she's never functioned quite normally. We were told that she would never be able to drive, and she is in driving school. So, this is not putting any drug or stimulant inside the child. It's just nearly activating the body for the body to fix itself. So, Summer, thank you for sharing. Oh, that makes my heart so happy. Okay, so we're going to open it up. Who else wants to share tonight? Who else has text? I want to make sure that we open it up for anybody inside the family. All right. All right. So let's go back. Let's explain the rest of this. And if you decide, hey, I want to share, then we will definitely go back. All right. So what you want to do is you want to utilize this technology. Okay. You want to utilize this technology at least 1 month per decade that you're alive. Okay. 1 month per decade that you're alive. At least. Okay. So how you're going to wear the patch. Okay. You're going to wear it for 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Take it off. You can put it on your dog, or you can throw it away and you can put, oh, yep, somebody else. You can put a new patch on the next day. Okay. So 12 hours on, 12 hours off. Now remember, this is a family Zoom. So somebody else just messaged me and said, I want to share. So Stephanie, come on up and we'll highlight you, friend. There you are. So you have to unmute.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Forgive me. I'm like really winded because I just had surgery myself this afternoon. But this week, my son is level 2 child with autism. And months ago, I gave a testimony about how he was showing improvement in his sensory sensitivities and just interactions. And last night we were at a basketball game, and it was really like sensory overload for him. And he stayed outside the hallway most of the night. And I kept inviting him to come in, but I let him make the decision. And I saw around the fourth quarter of the last game, he came in and I was watching him, but I wanted him to just like do his own thing. And as I was watching him, I started seeing him do his like self regulation things that he does. It's usually an eye tick, a head shake, and I noticed that he couldn't get out of it. And I was about to go intervene. And he self-regulated without doing the tick, and he walked away from what was giving him the overload. And he took a break and he stopped doing his like tick. And after he stopped the tick, it looked to me like the best way I can describe it for someone who has not experienced this, it looked like the autism got up and walked away from him. And he went on the basketball court and started playing basketball with the high schoolers. He's an eighth grader. And he's always been terrified to go on a court with older kids because he feels like he's not adequate. And he was guarding one of the best basketball players on the team, and they have so much compassion for my son. So I was so blessed to see him do that. But he had so much confidence and he's self-regulated. And that's huge because he's never been taught. The last time I talked to the group, I told everyone that we were trying to get into ABA therapy, which is behavioral therapy, which would
Right.
help him learn how to self-regulate. We had our first session last week, and all he did was introduce himself to his practitioner. So he hasn't done anything to work on self-regulation, to be taught that, but he did it all on his own. And the only thing that we changed is the patch. That's the only thing that he's been on the patch for 5 months now.
Oh, Stephanie. Oh, I love that. Well, if you're new on here, we love to watch each other go through things with our kids and love to see the changes. So what was neat was that Stephanie sent a video of her son getting a haircut. And to many of us, that looks like a very normal thing, right? But Stephanie, you can attest, it was like, as a mama heart, right, of a child that's special needs, like when you see your child being able to function Oh, come on, guys. It just is so incredible. So, Stephanie, thank you for sharing that because that right there, it's like, so thank you, thank you, thank you for sharing. So, how you're going to wear the patch back to it, right? So, like what she does for her son, you can put the patch on, 12 hours off, take it off. You can put it on your dog if your dog has hip issues, back issues, whatever it is, put on a horse, whatever it is. And that because that GHKCU peptide will elevate and it helps animals. Okay. And then throw it away because once it touches your body, it's activated for 16 to 20 hours. You only want to wear it for 12 hours because your body's doing the work. It's activating your body. Okay. So you need to rest. Make sure that you drink water and electrolytes and then throw it away, rest for 12 hours, and put a new patch on the next day. It's that incredibly simple. Now, again, at minimum 1 month per decade that you're alive. We tell everybody at least 6 months, at least 6 months. Now, more validity. My husband and I just saw The Code of Creation, which actually is a documentary that was created about LifeWave, not by LifeWave, but by a gentleman named Mickey Willis. He was so incredibly impressed by the technology that he created a documentary because he could not wrap his mind around the way that David Schmitz found this technology and the technology that's attached to LifeWave. He was just absolutely floored. So that documentary will be released next year. It's going to the Sundance Film Festivals. Many of the film festivals already, Amazon Prime will be having it and other avenues. So really be looking forward to that because that's exciting. Now, every Tuesday are different testimonies. So if you say, well, what about a stroke or what about dental or what about, the answer is yes. On everybody, on everything, every single time, given enough time. Okay. But if you say, well, I want to hear about this, or this, go to thisisit.info.com and you can actually click the testimonies page at the top and you'll be able to find all kinds of testimonies that weren't maybe covered tonight. Okay, so the answer is yes. And if you say, well, what about doctors? What do they have to say? Well, the answer is they have tons to say. There are many, many doctors that are jumping on and saying, gosh, if only you knew what I'm seeing. I've never seen anything like this. So, guys, you will have a testimony as long as you utilize this technology. And if you need to see the patents or the studies, you can absolutely see that on thisisit.info.com. But just be prepared that this is my miracle inbox and you will be sending a testimony to the person that you get back with that introduced this to you. You will, because truly, this is absolutely life-changing. Now, you can share it if you decide that you want to wear it and share it, you absolutely can. But the most important piece about all of this and what we've covered tonight is that you need the X39. You absolutely, every single person in my life, I make sure that I introduce this technology. Now, you can jump in, get back to the person that invited you. If you are a guest tonight, and you can say, hey, you know what? Yes, I want in. I want to share it or I want to just wear it. You can jump in at the core. That's a sample that's 3 months of the X39. There's other technology that you can mix and match. So if you have horrendous pain, there's actually a patch duo called the Ice Wave. And actually, they work together to block the pain receptors and move the pain away from each other so that you actually can block the pain within 5 to 10 seconds. And then as the X39 wakes up those stem cells, whatever's causing the issue will begin to fix, right? But so you can mix and match, just get back to the person that invited you to this and they'll help you figure out what is best for your package. You can jump in at the advanced, which gives you 6 months of the X39, or you can mix and match. The advanced plus, which is $975, gives you 11 sleeves of the X39, or again, mix and match. Or you can do the premium, which actually is what my husband and I did because we have a lot of children. And that gave us the ability to have enough patches for all of our family, which everyone needed. So, guys, what I will tell you is that we love Tuesdays. This is what fuels our fire. We love hearing from all of our family members because truly this is one big family that you're on with. We love hearing about what is happening in each other's lives, our children's lives, our families' lives. So, what I will say is please be back because you will have a testimony. Share your testimony with us because we want to know what's happening. We want to know how the lives of those that you love are being impacted because that's the fuel to this team. So with that, get back to the person that invited you to this And just be ready for your testimony. Be ready to see change in your life that you maybe never thought would happen. Have an incredible evening. Good night.